Hello there and welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka on Tuesday, the 5th of March. And I was just talking just before the break about a little bit about conservation and how this exhibition in India, which you saw just a little while ago, was aimed at conservation. And they had the ability to bring in school kids and bring in a wide variety of people to this exhibition and impose upon them a message, the importance of promoting flowers and promoting the culture of horticulturism and engaging in such things. Now, of course, I was talking a little bit about something that interesting happened in Thailand. Now, Thai's Prime Minister has announced the end to ivory trade in Thailand. Now, for those of you who don't know a little bit about the background in Thailand and ivory trade, Thailand happens to be the world's largest unregulated ivory market. Now, of course, an unregulated ivory market would obviously mean that there's going to be a lot of poaching of elephants and a lot of illegal sales of ivory. Now, that also brings us to the idea that sale of ivory is not illegal totally. However, there has to be a regulation. Now, this regulation has been prompted by the International Convention on Trade in Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. And the Thai government has made an express statement that they will take care to regulate this market much better and to protect more elephants from Africa as well as other countries. Connects us to Sri Lanka as well, because a few months back we had the issue of blood ivory in Sri Lanka, certain ivory which has been received in the customs which was contaminated, which was involved in a poaching scandal, and whether those should be given to our temples and so on and into our country and the trade. Of course, not talking about ivory of course being a very valuable entity, we have our next story coming up about a very valuable entity as well, a little bit of gold, and how it took a little while to catch this man who took some gold. Let's have a look.
Local police in the city of Taizhou, East China's Jiangsu province, arrested a man who robbed 500,000 yuan's worth of gold necklaces from a local jewelry store 50 hours after the robbery occurred. According to a saleswoman of the store, Liang Fengjing, a man in black walked into the store around 20-30 hours on the 18th of February. Instead of browsing products, he smashed the glass showcase with a hammer and grabbed a handful of gold necklaces before storming out of the store. It only lasted 3 to 5 seconds, she said. 21 gold necklaces worth 500,000 yuan have been taken. The local police immediately started investigations into the case. Director of the Taizhou Police Bureau said he drove away after robbing the store, so the key is where his car is, and that's the lead of our search right after the robbery. Based on the investigations into the surveillance video footage across the city, the police identified a car whose plate number is MMP010. The car was stolen on the 9th of February in Taizhou, Jian district. After 50 hours of investigation, the jewelry robber surnamed Lee was captured around 10 p.m. on Wednesday. 18 gold necklaces were found from his body.
Well, thank God for the valuable technology of CCTV, and as you saw the robbery, you saw the car being stolen, all on CCTV. And of course, Sri Lanka is not far behind with all these technologies. We have also got a lot of CCTV happening, and recent steps taken by the Ministry of Defense, I believe, was to have a lot of cameras all around connected to mobile police units, and of course has effected in a lot of these crimes being caught, and that was indeed a laudable move. And I hope further these gold robbers and so on, so many robbers we got in Sri Lanka as well, will be caught and brought to justice. Just to finish off where we was talking about the interesting story in Thailand, well, this ban will be taken as a matter of urgency because elephants are being slaughtered at a rate in this country. Now, of course, there are other countries such as Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which have failed to address these issues of ivory and slaughter of elephants. Of course, Sri Lanka doesn't have that same issue. Interestingly, Sri Lankan elephants die mostly by accident, especially being caught onto the rail tracks and being electrocuted and so on, and also clashes with humans. And that's a bigger problem in Sri Lanka, where the human elephant conflict with regard to farming and agriculture is one of the severe problems and something that we need to take care of as well. Thankfully, Sri Lanka has not been infested with the ivory and slaughter of elephants, of course. A recent interesting piece of news came by the trains now are going to be fixed with a camera in the front, so that any impending obstacle such as an elephant can be averted by a warning system and so on. So good steps being taken, because it is indeed sad to hear of a story of an elephant being killed on a railway, and it also does create the inconvenience of trains being delayed and so on and so forth, and several injuries and all that. Of course, talking a little bit about from the flowers of India, there was of course a story about Princess Diana being the rose of English, the English rose. And of course, this rose of course is not as, I would say, pleasant as the Princess Diana is, of course, but she is nevertheless the monarch, the current monarch of England, who has been going through a slightly difficult time with her health. But of course, there are other celebrities in the world who are going through some interesting times, and certainly what is more interesting than your third marriage, it's not too much of a surprise, Janet Jackson has got married again. And let's look at the story and return.
Singer Janet Jackson said on Monday that she married her Qatari businessman boyfriend last year, quashing media reports of an upcoming wedding. Jackson, 46 years old, the younger sister of the late singer Michael Jackson, was engaged to billionaire Wasim Al-Mana, 37 years old, last year, but kept their news under wraps. The American singer is known for keeping her private life from the media, rarely speaking out about her ex-husbands. She married soul singer James DeBarge in 1984, and the marriage was annulled a year later.
And there we have it. Of course, Janet Jackson, we knew all about what happened with her previous husband. There was a pretty controversial picture, photo shoot that she had at that time, and it was not very pleasantly taken by a lot, if those of you have seen it on the internet. And then we have the new marriage. Of course, a Qatari businessman, I think is about 10 or 15 years the younger. Well, of course, he must be pretty happy being married to the diva, sister of the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Of course, interestingly, we were talking a little bit about the Queen, and of course the Qatari businessman, similar story connected to the English royalty. Of course, the Princess Diana was of course somewhat involved with Dodi Al-Fayed, who was also a businessman of English Arabic inheritance. So it was a very interesting connection to that story. But I want to return to the state of the monarch. Of course, she's not in danger. She has been suffering with a rare instance of ill health, because the Queen is a strong woman. Of course, if she can jump from a plane at the Olympics, she has to be really fit and strong. She didn't jump off the plane, but we thought she did. She has been given certain rehydration treatment, because she's been suffering from a case of diarrhea and vomiting. So the poor Queen has put apart her plans for to visit Rome and carry on her royal duties and affairs and so on. She has taken a few steps back and taking a little rest at Windsor Castle. Of course, apparently this kind of disease does come across in England quite commonly, and about 600,000 from 1 million Britons are affected. So the Queen is no exception, showing that even the Queen, even the monarch, is of course an average person, and illness and sickness can come and affect those persons as well. Of course, we have more stories of just after the break about a very eminent personality and a very eminent position that is up for grabs, if I may say so, just after the break. But we'll return after this.